my friend, it's Dr. A, and in today's special episode, I want to share a powerful idea and something that I personally believe is foundationally true and can change your life forever. This is an idea and an approach to your life that certainly applies to your health and fitness, but that you can also apply to your key relationships, your financial health, your spiritual health. And I am so convinced, and that's why I want to get into this, that if you get this down and you apply the reflection questions I'm about to give you in this episode to your life, you are going to set yourself up for massive success this upcoming year to come. Because right now, at the time of recording this, it is the end of 2022, and 2023 is right around the corner, which means many people are getting more focused on January New Year's resolutions. And I think those are great. It's certainly a chance around New Year's to breathe some new life into your routine, to commit, to really set new goals, to refocus, and to harness that New Year energy. But more important than New Year's energy is there is an overarching approach that exists regardless of whether it's January or October or November, December. And I am in a unique position having created my Fit Father and Fit Mother curriculums and programs and having seen literally tens of thousands of people go through these programs. I've seen the people who are massively successful, who make a true transformation, who are able to be consistent over the long haul. And I see a lot of other people who have the exact same program and information, but they either struggle to get traction or they find themselves that they get derailed and they fall off track occasionally with different pressures. What is the difference? Well, the difference is the people who succeed massively and long term, they use something called systems thinking. And most of the people who are successful don't do this consciously. And what I want to do in today's episode is to break down systems thinking, what it means, how it applies into your life so you can consciously activate this powerful philosophical framework. And I'm in a little bit of a philosophical mood today, so buckle up, because what I'm going to invite you to do with me throughout this conversation is to reflect in your own life as I'm going through this discussion on systems thinking. And we're particularly going to break down systems thinking as it applies to your nutrition, your sleep, and your exercise. Now, let's define systems thinking right off the bat. Systems thinking is a way of making sense of complexity. We live in a complex world. So by systems thinking, it's a way of approaching complexity by seeing the greater picture in whole and also analyzing what the integral parts of that system are and seeing how they're all interconnected. And this is perhaps the truest way to think, because oftentimes we think of things in isolation. We focus on the trees and we miss the forest. But life is completely dynamic. Just look at yourself in the broader system of your life. You are an embodied human being, a beautiful, powerful being, and you are connected to all those in your local social circle. You're connected to your family. You are a node like they are a node. And what you do is dynamically affecting your closest relationships. So when you understand that, just that first one point, that when you're making a health change, you're not just making it for you in isolation. All the things that are connected to you in your dynamic system are going to need to change and re-equilibrate as you're making changes in your life. So you are a node, and inside you as a node, we also have all these subsystems. What does it take to be healthy? Well, it takes being more consistent with good nutrition, moving your body, sleeping well, and you are going to develop systems in all those areas. And all those systems are going to be interconnected with one another. This is why when we really look at life, we have to understand that life is like a fractal system. We could zoom out and say the planet Earth is in this cosmic system with our planets around the sun, which is in a cosmic system of the Milky Way galaxy, which is in a cosmic system of something larger. Just as far as we can zoom all the way in and say that your body is a microcosm of a system of gut bacteria, of dynamic metabolism, of everything. Start to approach things by looking at systems. And the way we can start to train ourselves on systems thinking is to ask some of the age-old questions that if you've had young kids that they ask: why, what, who, when, where, how. Systems thinking is a process of applying these foundational questions into any area that we want to understand better. And to help train you on systems thinking and to show how powerful this can be in your life, I want to break down systems thinking as it applies to nutrition, exercise, and sleep, because I think it's going to help you tremendously and gain some more clarity on your life right now. So let's break down nutrition. We all know that nutrition is one of the most foundational things you can do to lose weight, to have good energy. It's because we have these bodies and we approach every new fresh day and we have to fuel our bodies. So the choices we make with nutrition have massive domino effects to the rest of our lives. And when we get the nutrition right, everything else starts to fall in place. So the question I want to ask you first to apply systems thinking in nutrition is this: why? Why is nutrition so foundational for you? And how is nutrition connected to every area of your life? When we ask the why question in systems thinking, what we end up gaining back in terms of the answer we give ourselves is connection, personal connection to why something's important. And that is important because when we have personal connection, why power, if you will, it activates our latent emotive power, because we're not just making decisions from a logical aspect, we have an emotional aspect to it. And when we understand the why and we start to see the interconnection that actually, when I eat right, it supports me feeling my best, which means I can show up as a parent, which means I have the energy to be productive at work, which means I have greater self-love. And when you understand and are a little more conscious about how one thing like nutrition that seemingly seems like it's a disconnected, isolated part of life, but it's actually completely connected, the why question in systems thinking is so, so powerful. So if you've been inside our Fit Father and Fit Mother programs, you've written a mission statement and you've gone through some deep analysis of your life and why your overall health is connected to all the core values you love, but we can break it down. Why is nutrition so connected? And if you're a person who struggles to stay consistent with nutrition, this is certainly an area to gain some more clarity and reflect on right now. Why is nutrition connected to everything you love, and how does it make an impact? The next question we can ask to apply the systems thinking to nutrition is, what is your nutrition system? If there's anything that our program does really well, it's giving people this structure that's like a nutrition system that they can start training on and working. It's like, here are some of your go-to meals. Have a shake for breakfast. Eat lunch at this time using these simple foods. Make a perfect plate for dinner. The people who succeed, they actually get a system that they're clear on. So the what question in systems thinking gives you clarity, the first order of clarity. And when you're clear, you're able to direct your energy. It's like, think of a rocket. How does a rocket launch into space? Well, first it gets power in the form of stored energy, in the form of combustible fuel, right? That's kind of like that why question, the emotive power. And then two, it actually has a direction, a line of drive, a trajectory. That is what the what question of system thinking gives you. It gives you more clarity. So what is your nutrition system? If you're in our programs, you have this down. And then you can actually ask micro questions there. Is if nutrition is an iterative game, if we're waking up every day and we're working on being better with our nutrition, what are the cascading first actions we take every single day that will kick off a likelihood of better nutrition? There's no mistake. For our Fit Fathers and Fit Mothers, it's typically hydration and a healthy breakfast. If you really zone in on the importance of that one little action habit, getting up and rehydrating with 16 to 32 ounces of water, is going to make it so much more likely that you end up having a healthy breakfast, which makes it so much more likely that you have healthier meals later in the day. This is a cascading effect of how small decisions stack on each other. So my question is, what is your nutrition system? And what is your nutrition system for that first meal of the day? You may have clarity on that. And I want to ask you this next question in systems thinking. How is your system for nutrition vulnerable? What are the pressures that throw you off track? This is a hugely important question. This is like a second order of clarity. When you understand how your system's vulnerable, it's like, oh, I tend to find that I get stressed late at night and I eat unhealthy snacks, and that sets me up for negative momentum the next day. Or I seem to do really good on my nutrition Monday through Friday, and then the weekend comes along and I don't have that normal work structure, so I fall off track on the weekends. Ask yourself, how is your system vulnerable? What are your unique vulnerabilities? It's like NASA's thinking about this, right? They're launching that rocket. They want to know that there's a vulnerability where the fuel can get too hot and the rocket could explode, or that we can get off track, or that there's wind. What if we got that conscious about our own nutrition habits and we looked at our vulnerabilities and then developed some more plans for that? I think the weekend eating is so, so important. And this is why when you get into phase 2 of our Fit Father and Fit Mother programs, we start to do that Monday, Friday, Sunday kind of check-in. So on Friday, we're looking at the weekend ahead and asking, what are our vulnerabilities? What things are we going to approach? How are we going to make tweaks? So that how question is massively powerful for systems thinking. Next question is, who is involved in your nutrition system? Who is eating with you? Who is connected to you? Is it your spouse? Is it your kids? What is the impact of your decisions on them? When you understand this, you're going to be able to bring people on board, or at least have clarifying conversation with someone, because you often hear the story of someone's making changes with Fit Father or Fit Mother, and they have a spouse who's like not supportive or not engaged. If you don't really address that and see that you are a dynamic family system and the food you eat does affect your partner, then you're vulnerable. That is a vulnerability, and you can fix that by having an open, honest conversation about why you're doing what you're doing, what you're going to be doing, and how that relates to them, and maybe assuage any fears of judgment or guilt that that person may be bringing to your dynamic system. It is all connected, my friends. Another question that's important is when. When do you need to prepare to help your system become more resilient and more effective? When can you do meal prep to pave the path for more success? When do you need to check in on how nutrition's going? When you ask this when question, what you get is more foresight and easier planning. So the when question is massively important, and we can apply this when question to exercise and sleep as well. Because when you can really pave the path and you're clear on these key habits, like once or twice a week, that makes it a lot easier for you to be successful. And you add conscious awareness to that, you are so much more robust. And our program does this. It helps people build these into their thinking, but you can do this in any area of your life. You can start thinking through and applying this to your finances as we're going through this right now. Another question is, how do you reboot the system if you find that it's gliding off track? This is one of the most valuable questions you can ask in systems thinking, because your system is not always going to be perfect. There's no system that can withstand an infinite amount of pressure. And perhaps you're doing really well with your nutrition right now, but something tragic happens with your family. Maybe that's a passing of a parent. Maybe it's a massive change to your work-life balance. And you find that you were doing really well, but that external pressure introduced to your system was enough to rock your equilibrium. That's like a given. It's going to happen. If you want to be on track long term, you're going to face some of these big life moments. So the question of actually having some forethought on how do I guide myself back on track when there is a pressure that's creating some disequilibrium is one of the most valuable questions for long-term success. And I know you're here because you want long-term success. So how do you reboot? What is your reboot process? For many of our fit fathers and fit mothers, it's doing a fast. It's getting back to that standardized meal number one. It's maybe rewriting a mission statement, but having these hooks of how to reboot the system, so powerful. So we applied those who, what, why, when, where, how questions to nutrition. Let's do the same thing to exercise. I think you're going to find it valuable as we go through a new domain with the same approach as systems thinking. So why is exercise so foundational and connected to everything that you love and your core values? Well, I find out personally for me is when I exercise, my mood is better and my energy is better, which means that I tend to do better habits with nutrition because exercise interplays with nutrition, which interplays with exercise. It's like this ping pong back of like positive generating momentum. So when you get clear on why exercise is important, you also have more emotional power to get it in and get it done. Even on days where you don't feel like exercising or it was so busy. Now, when you get why, again, you get that personal connection from the why question in systems thinking. Next thing is, what exercise are you committed to? And what exercise do you actually love? If we're looking at sustainability, which is a key thing of any system, get clear. Certainly, it could be following our Fit Father or Fit Mother workouts all the way through the phases, phase 1 to phase 4. That's great. But you also may realize from this questioning process, I actually really love to exercise outside. I love to walk. I love to hike. I love to bike. Just getting clear on that is really giving you more first order clarity that then you can apply into the dojo of consistent action, which helps to build momentum. So that what question, you can apply that to any domain of your life. What type of exercise do you enjoy? Then you can have, what is your exact routine? Have you struggled to have clarity in the past? I think this is one of the most valuable parts of our program is we actually lay out, this is exactly what to do with no guesswork. And when you have that, you can channel your momentum and your energy in a such more powerful way. How does your exercise routine change throughout the year? This is an important question to ask, right? It's getting colder outside right now in wintertime in the Northern Hemisphere. How does your workout routine change seasonally? How does it change if you're in different locations, at home, at the gym, traveling for work or family vacations? Like if you can become conscious about this and then have a plan for the dynamic changing settings, you have a more robust system. The people who fall off track, they typically have a very weak system because they have something that only works in one specific context. Like I can only get my workout in if I'm at the gym. Like that's a system that's bound to fail. But what if you came into our community and you actually looked at some of our travel fit workouts and now you know some body weight workouts or resistance band workouts you can do anywhere. You have a workout routine you can do in the gym. You have a workout routine you can do at home. You've created a more robust system that has many different facets and variables to meet your changing environment. Dynamic systems thinking. How does your location affect your ability to exercise and stay consistent? Where is your exercise system most vulnerable? Is it due to busyness? Like you get so busy, you don't get the workout in the morning, and then you find that you don't get it in. And then is there a domino effect that happens if you miss one workout, that you miss more workouts? Look at your vulnerabilities, look at your natural pressures and what guides you off track. And when you get clear on those, you can get hedges in place. And you can also have more grace that's like, okay, I missed a workout today, but I can come back tomorrow, and you're releasing that all or nothing mindset. So those looking at vulnerabilities are massive. Who is involved in your exercise routine? Is it your kids? Now they're being more involved and they're working out with you. Is it your spouse? Is there positive encouragement that comes from them? Is there negative encouragement and judgment because they feel like you're taking time away from normal family activities? Is there something you need to recalibrate there? So looking at the system both interpersonally with your key people in life, as well as how do you actually get it done in your own routines and your relationship is massive. And how do you reboot if your exercise system gets off track? These are really important questions. These are probably like the most important questions. I'd rather you get clear on these questions than know something fancy about this kind of nutrient or that kind of supplement. Because ultimately this health game is about behaviors and being more consistent over time. And behaviors is all about our mindset, our emotions, and our actions as they're dynamically interacting with our lives, with our relationships, with our pressures, and those things are always changing. So I'm inviting you here to take a systems approach. And to get this one more time to really nail this down, I want to look at the domain of sleep, because that's also one of these key levers, right? Nutrition, exercise, sleep. Let's apply systems thinking into sleep. Why is sleep so vitally important to you, your life, and your core values? Well, I'll share some science, right? Sleep is the master reset for this body that controls all of our hunger, appetite hormones. When we miss sleep, our blood sugars are higher, cortisol levels are higher. We're more cranky. Our energy's not as good. We rely on stimulants more. It's harder to lose weight. So when you understand these things, you see how sleep is completely integrated into the system, and it makes you a lot less likely to want to skip sleep or be like a warrior and just push through, because by doing that, it might work in the short term, but in the long term, it's creating a debt into the system that must be repaid. So why is sleep important? What is your sleep routine at night? What are things that throw your sleep off? How is your sleep system vulnerable? Who is affected by your sleep routine? How does your sleep routine change with the dynamic pressures of your life? Are you on track right now? How do you reboot your sleep if it's not right? So asking these who, what, why, when, where, how questions in any area. And I actually invite you to go forth and apply these exact questions to a domain that seems like it's unrelated to your fitness. Maybe it's your spiritual practices. Why is it important for you? What is your routine? What are the vulnerabilities of following through on that? When do you prepare to make those routines more likely that you stick to? These are such key questions. And the people who succeed long-term, they have a systems approach, whether they actually consciously realize it or not. And my invitation for you today, at the end of this year, when this episode comes out, is to approach this upcoming year from a systems approach to see how interconnected this is. And the cool thing is we have all this laid out and interconnected into our Fit Father and Fit Mother programs. The reason these programs are so effective is because it bakes in systems thinking. It makes you get interconnected with all these different areas. And it gives you the dojo where you can go and train and work and build some of these habit muscles and see how things are interconnected experientially. This is the philosophy stuff. It might be a little heady. It might be more questions and clarity than you're used to. But remember, it all starts in the mind. When you can see things more clearly, when you can see truth, when you can see your patterns, when you can ask powerful questions for this, you're able to take more powerful actions. So that's my invitation. This health and fitness stuff is so much more deep than just eat this, don't eat this, do this workout. It's about you, your mindset, your life, and you are a system. You are a system within a system within a system. And you start thinking and understanding systems and asking the right questions about how systems interrelate, you become more powerful. You become more consistent. You get more energy. You get more positive momentum. You affect more change in your system, those dynamic systems you're connected to, your friends and your family. You become more robust. And you also have the mindset of knowing that the system is always changing. So you give yourself grace. You give yourself grace when things aren't working great right now because there's pressure introduced to the system. So we re-equilibrate. We get our new equilibrium and we continue to move forward. Systems thinking, my friends. This is the approach. This is the higher intelligence of this health and fitness stuff. Go forth and apply this. And I have another episode coming up where we're going to break down like a part 2 of systems thinking. And we're going to show how it's actually systems thinking is applied on this progressive path of transforming in the early stages when you're getting started, in the middle stages where you have some more confidence and momentum, and in the later stages when you've been at this for a long time and you need to like reinvent, set new goals, and really just like every stage that you get to in the progression of your journey in any area of your life requires a recalibration of the system. So I hope you enjoyed this, my friend. I mean, I hope you like it as much as I do. Like, I think this stuff is so profound and I'm grateful you're here. I wish you massive success into this new year. If you are one of our members and you need more help, just send us an email, like reach back out. We are always here for you. Our brotherhood or our sisterhood are here for you. This is a time now with this New Year's energy that we can use that as wind in our sails to build a better system, to get more clear and to build more positive momentum. We are here for you today, next year, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, because this life is an ongoing unfolding system. And the cool thing is we can do it together. So happy you're here, my friend. I hope you enjoyed this episode and I'll catch you in future episodes of the Fit Father and Fit Mother Project podcast.